Welcome back to Rare Finds and Raw Reviews. Typically, when I do my podcast, it's supposed to be like different things that I found along my way from the pandemic up till now. And I was going to do another beauty product that I currently use, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to put a pause on that for a second. Because there's only so many products, you know what I mean? You guys will either like them or don't like them. I'm just throwing all my stuff out there, hoping that it would help at least one person. I'm not trying to capture the world's attention. I'm just trying to put out information out there for those that are seeking, because when I was seeking during the pandemic, there was just so much I was having to do to find the right products to get to where I'm at now. And, even with that, I'm still not done, but I have products that are getting me, to my day to day. And I'm still going through certain things that I am still testing other products to help me with those other things that I bumped into. Anyhow, so this podcast is going to be a little different. I know that it's about rare finds, and raw reviews. Well, this is a rare find. It's an emotion inside a human being, that my emotion is different than your emotion. And, sometimes we can match the same emotion, but the experience is always all on our own. You know what I mean? Like, mine is my experience, yours is your experience. We can kind of relate as far as how we got there, but the experience of us going through it is going to be completely different. So I named this particular podcast Therapy Session. So I hope that this will help anybody else out, and get them through whatever they're going through. So I'm not sure if you follow me on any of my other podcasts or any of my other platforms, my Facebook, my Instagram. If you do follow me, just know that the first thing that you're going to notice is God. Yes. And it's always God before me. He is like my first line of defense. God will be the first thing that if anything happens to me, I'm like, all right, God, you got this, because I personally do not have it. And anytime that I try to be in control or try to do something on my own, you know how they say fleshfully, I always fail. There's nothing that I can do that will ever make anything better than what God does. So, yes, I love God. God, I just had experience my entire life since a little girl, throughout everything I ever done. I've always been on the always making sure that I'm not making wrong moves and things like that. And I've been struggling, I probably didn't really start struggling with my relationship with God until I would have to say probably in my 20s, after I got married, after I had my daughter. I was just from a kid before my 20s, I was living basically a free life. You know what I mean? I felt free, even though I would always think about, okay, what would God do? You know what I mean? How is God viewing me? It wasn't as bad, until I hit my 20s, where I became a mother, and I was like, okay, so what do you want me to do with my life? Purpose. For my daughter being born, it was more like, okay, I need to focus on being a good mother. I had my flaws. Believe me, I've had my flaws. Throughout this whole struggling experience and evolving and becoming who I am today, I love who I am, but I know I could be better. And that is my struggle. I go through so many storms as I evolve into who I'm becoming. It's not who I want to be, it's who God wants me to be, and that right there is my whole struggle. I am literally frustrated with myself because I don't know what God's trying to tell me right now. I'm currently going through a storm right now, and I can't figure it out. Some days are better than others. If you guys are following my blog, I'm kind of that's my Dear Diary. You guys, and I only post it on Facebook. I don't know how else you can post it, still trying to get that, get savvy with that. But, anyways, if you follow my Facebook, you'll be able to see my Dear Diary, which is my blog. And it kind of tells you, what I'm going through. Like, for instance, right now I'm in this stage of empty nesting. Wow. Like, all I have to say is that empty nesting is such a struggle. Like, I don't know how moms do it. Like, seriously, I'm an emotional being. Like, seriously, like, I love hard. I work hard. I play hard. Everything I do to the extreme, which is, it can be exhausting at times, but that is my personality. I don't know how to give you half. I give you all. And that's the way God equipped me. You know what I mean? And sometimes I get mad at myself because I'm like, I am just too much. But then it's like, why get mad at yourself? This is the way God made you. You know what I mean? Like, why do you have to apologize for being you? You know what I mean? Like, there are some things that we have to do in life that we have to change, not only for ourselves, but for others, and that's just being courteous, because you want to have a nice balance. You don't want it to be too much or be too little, but you want to just have balance. And that's my struggle, is providing balance, just because, I am extreme. I'm extreme at everything I do, like when I was younger, I was even worse when I was younger. Like, for instance, like working out, I would work out like almost 2 hours. You know what I mean? I would work out like 45 minutes to an hour. And then on top of it, I'd go out there and run. I had so much energy when I was in my 20s, all my young years, you know what I mean? And it was just, what I did, and I knew how to channel that energy by working out as long as I did and doing the things that I did. That being extreme was easy when I was young, And as I got older, it became a struggle. Not that my energy changed, and I'm grateful for that. That's like a blessing to have the energy that I have. But it's also a struggle when you don't have an outlet. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's just like right now, like I've given up everything. Like, I haven't drank I hadn't drank in 7 years. Like, I gave up drinking, right? Recently, last year, I'd say around my birthday, I was like, oh, you know what? I'll have a glass of wine. You know what I mean? And 1 glass was my limit. Before, in my 20s, I'd be like, all right, let's do this. You know what I mean? And whoever gives out will give out. That's how I drank. Remember, I'm extreme. So anyhow, I tried it out, for, my birthday, and I was like, So then, throughout the months after my birthday, I would have a drink here and there, but I really was not like a fan, you know what I mean? And it was during Christmas time that I was having a glass, maybe 2 glasses, and I was feeling really great. But then I was just like wrapping presents, and I was by myself, and nobody was here to enjoy it with me. So I was just like, what am I doing? And then I was just feeling so great that I was like, okay, I need to eat, type of situation, the process. So I was like, you know what? I just don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, drinking is not my thing anymore. It's not even an outlet to relax or whatever. It's just not me. I did all that. Been there, done that. You know what I mean? I don't smoke. Some people are like, yeah, just smoke some, and, I did all of that when I was young, and I gave it up really when I was young. I had this unique experience when I got high, and, this is where I'm going to go deep. Okay. So I was smoking weed one day, right? And I had been smoking from the age of 15. And I think the last time I stopped smoking, I might've been 18 or 19. I can't remember, our memories, like I have good memory, but that part, I can't remember my age frame. But I'm thinking between 18 and 19, I was so like high, right? And at that moment, I'm going to tell you guys, this is me going deep, okay? At that moment, I heard a voice in my mind tell me, why are you smoking? You have no problems. Why are you smoking? And my hands began to shake because that kind of freaked me out a little bit. But remember, I've always had a relationship with God, and God will come into my life when he needs to and when there needs to be a change. Now, he's constantly in my life, but he kind of like, hit me over the head with that one, so I was like, I don't know why I'm smoking. I'm just smoking to smoke, was my answer. And after that, I didn't smoke. I didn't. I stopped. I quit smoking. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm human. So as I got into my 20s, I would drink. And then if there was smoke, I would smoke. But I was just so into drinking at that time that if I was high, I didn't feel high. I just felt like I was really feeling like the alcohol. So anyhow, so that was one of my deep experiences with God. I've had a lot, believe me, and I'm very blessed to say that because, it's the experiences with God that you want to have in your life because it's like, it's so fulfilling, but at the same time, it's also, it can be frustrating. It really can, I'm easily frustrated because of my personality, because I like to get things done. I like to have direction. And when I'm kind of freestyling, I get uncomfortable because I like direction. I like to know where I'm going. So, I'm currently in the Moses effect right now where he told Moses to hit his staff with the rock and the water would, come, right? And all the things that I've learned that he's taught me up until now has been, it worked. It worked for all that time. And, I felt like, yes, I've got my groove. I'm ready to go. And now God wants me to change again. So yeah. You know what I mean? And it's okay. I never get mad. I get frustrated, because it's like I just figured this out. I just got used to this. Now I have to change again. And the reason why the change is happening is because, like I mentioned, I'm going through empty nesting right now. My daughter hasn't left yet. I have a little bit of time with her, but it's affecting me. And like I said, I'm an emotional person, right? And it's just very difficult to process the fact that my child is leaving. I only have one child that I was blessed with, and believe me, she's all I ever needed. She is like a 2-in-1 package. I didn't need a bunch of kids. She was it. So anyhow, so this change that's happening to me along with the empty nesting, it's like it's very challenging. It's very challenging, and it's frustrating, and I'm grateful I don't have to do it alone. I've been through a lot of my struggles alone. It's kind of hard to have a conversation of my struggles with folks that are not going through what I'm going through. Like if you're battling in your life, or you're going through a storm that involves God, and you don't surround your people with people that people are going through the same thing or been through those things, it's hard to express those things, So I did get involved more with church about, I'd say almost 3 years ago. So that has helped me, alleviate, I hope that's the right word, some of the things that I feel like I have on my shoulders. So sometimes I feel like I have the world of is that how you say it? The weight of the world on my shoulders, and I do walk around like that sometimes, but what I do is I fight through it, and I look for the positivity throughout my day, and just know that I'm only holding on to that weight because that's a choice. I could hand that weight over to God and not worry about anything, so that was my issue. That is my issue. I tend to do that, and guess what? God will allow you to hold on to that weight, hold on to any problem that you created, because you created most of your problems, because everything is a choice, even if we're going through a storm, God is not giving us a problem. Remember, He'll never give you anything you can't handle. And sometimes we tend to forget that. Just like in Bible study, I went to Bible study yesterday, and they had some great questions, and I felt like I had the answers, but they weren't ready to hear it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to answer those questions, by email, because it's a massive email that we get, and they had the questions. So I'm going to answer from my experience, because everybody's experience is different. But some people might relate to it, just because we all go through stuff, right? So anyhow, one of the questions in Bible study was, going through the storm, how do you get through it, and why do you go through it, So before I answer that question, I want to go back to my Moses effect. Okay, so like I was saying, I tried everything that he showed me, but now I'm in a new season, in a new storm, and this will intertwine with that question. When God asked Moses to speak to the rock, and they would get the water, Moses instead didn't listen to God, and he tried to use his old tools that God gave him for the first season, and he tried to apply it to his second storm, So he got his staff and he hit the rock. Nothing happened because he didn't do what God told him to do, and God told him to speak to the rock, right? So that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to use all my old tools for the storm, and it's just not working. It kind of relieves me of some things, but it's not working. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm failing to realize that it's like, okay, if you just stop freaking being so fidgety and just learn to listen, God will tell you what you need for this storm. So to answer the question from my Bible study class is, going through this storm, are we doing this? You know what? I'm not even saying the question right. But anyway, so it's just going through a storm. Is it hard? Do you trust God to go through the storm? What are your feelings when you're going through the storm, etc.? So when I'm going through my particular storm, I know when it's coming. I know, like this time around, I knew it. I just knew it. I told my husband, I said, just be ready. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm about to go through something. And he was like, what? Why would you even speak that out loud? Why would you even say that? And I said, because I know my storms. I've been going through it for all these years. Do you think I don't know? You know what I mean? Like, it's something I'm about to go through. So I basically am going to need you to stand strong, stand by my side, because I'm going to need you. Like I've been through a lot of my storms by myself. This time around, I'm going to need you. And I feel because this storm is coming, it's because of my empty nesting. It's something that him and I share together because it's our child. So when I told him that, he was just like a little taken by it, but then, it's like, why would you speak that in the air? And I get that, you know what I mean? Like, why would you speak negativity? But it's really not negativity, because a storm is a powerful moment, a powerful experience that you experience with God. So in actuality, it's not speaking negative, it's speaking power, and the strength that you're going to get out of going through this storm with God. The thing is that some of us are so embedded in our flesh that we don't let the Spirit take over, and the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and that is a struggle in itself, to allow the Holy Spirit to be involved and take over, because the Holy Spirit is what? There's 3 Trinities, right? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is God. God lives in you. And if you let God take control, you're letting the Spirit take control. And that is so much easier to say than to do. Because while I'm going through this storm, it's so hard to let the Holy Spirit be in charge. And that's the thing about being a human being, is that we want to be in control so bad that we don't allow what's important to be in control. Because it's like we are gripping so hard to our flesh that doesn't matter. We should be letting go of the flesh and allowing the Spirit to take over. And that's really, really hard. It's a struggle, because you want to have at least a little bit control, because you want to know like how far it's going to go, versus not knowing where it's going to go and how far it's going to go. But that's the beauty about life. It's the journey. And that is so easy to say, and it's so hard to experience and do, because it's like letting go of habits that you've created, not God, you've created. And that's where life can get you. And you can get stuck, you can get frustrated, you can get overwhelmed. And that is my current situation right now. It's like I learned all of this, God built me up, and now it's like I'm back down again. I'm back down to square one. And every day I wake up, I try to wake up with gratitude, and I try to press forward and know that today's going to be a good day. The things that give me power is knowing God woke me up. I have every single right to have gratitude because I am here again. And then the next thing is have a good attitude. You know you're going through the storm, but if you're going to go through it, why not just go through it with joy? Go through it smiling, laughing, playing, enjoying every day, one day at a time. Because when you start thinking into the future, you start getting overwhelmed. You start feeling fear because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where it's going to go. So that's currently what I'm going through, and that's, what I've been feeling. And these are things that are actually real. Like, these things really happen, and I hope that the things that I say make sense to somebody that may be possibly going through the same thing. It isn't easy. I don't care how you paint the picture. Life is not easy. The storms are not easy. But the one thing that can be constant in your life is trusting God and trusting the process. If you can believe in those things and you can trust that, man, the world is yours, and it is what it is, and this is my story, and this is my current storm. And I felt like I needed to make a podcast about it because it is a rare find. It's something that we all have inside ourselves. And, we all struggle in different ways. We all need outlets. I'm still looking for an outlet. To me, I got put in my spirit to say, that's been spoken to me, that an outlet for me is to take some time off, and just listen to the Spirit, and take a little mini vacation if I have to. I know it can get expensive, but sometimes going out for like an hour or two, out of the house and just getting away and going and having fun, like me, I can be kind of simple, like you can take me to an arcade and I'll have a blast. Take me to go watch a movie, I'm gonna have a blast. You can take me to the park and go for a walk, I'm gonna have a blast. That's my personality. I'm kind of simple, you know what I mean? I can be high maintenance, but high maintenance in the fact that I have to wash my face twice a day because if not, I break out. That's my high maintenance issue. You know what I mean? But clothes and jewelry and all that sarah stuff, I could care less about that stuff. It's not my personality. My personality is about living in the moment and living life, and I'm human and I go through struggles and things like that. So those are the things that are good, healthy outlets for me. Besides working out and running and, you should see my little gym. My gym is cute. I love my little gym. It ain't pretty, to other people, but it's pretty to me because you know what? I have a bike. I have a rower. I have a punching bag that I still need to let loose on that punching bag, for real. So all this frustration and stuff like that, I need to take a lesson on that punching bag. But anyways, so this is what I wanted to talk about today. I will talk more about it, as it touches my heart to do so. But anyhow, this is probably one of my longest episodes. Typically, I try to keep my episodes, 15 to 17 minutes. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed my story. I hope you enjoyed the realness of this conversation. I hope that somehow, some way you can gravitate to it and it can keep you going, and just know that what you're going through, if God wasn't working in you, then it would mean you're not doing something right. So when you go through it and God is working in you, it's because you're doing something right. And just remember, you have a purpose. We all do. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming back to Rare Finds and Raw Reviews. Welcome back to Rare Finds and Raw Reviews. I decided to do a second episode on therapy session. So kind of just updating on my current status. I do want to thank everybody for tuning back in and following me on this amazing journey of therapy session. So, like my very first episode, I made this because I feel like, sometimes we need to decompress and we don't always know how to decompress. I'm currently still learning that. I do deal with a few things that is normal, but it does bother me from time to time. Like for instance, I deal with anxiety and I deal with panic attacks, and they say it's all very normal, very healthy, to have those things. Some people, they deal with, well, what's wrong with me? Why do I have anxiety? Why do I have panic? And to be honest, nobody really has the answer. It's an internal emotion, and no matter how many doctors you go and talk to and things of that nature, it's just something that you're dealing with. And unfortunately, I tried to tell myself this same thing, is one day it's going to pass and one day I'm not going to have to deal with it. It's just a certain stage that I'm going through right now, and once the stage is over, then I will be free from it, and if it flares up or whatnot, it's because something in my life is changing and I just have to learn to deal with it, face your fears, so I feel like that is exactly what the situation is, we have to face our fears. They say, anxiety and panic attacks are stirred up of emotions of being worried. Well, like I mentioned in my first episode, my daughter, obviously, I'm going through empty nesting. She's moving out, and I guess deep down in my mind, maybe I do worry, on the outer shell, and I'm thinking, I'm not worried. I don't think I am, but maybe deep down emotionally, I am worried. I worry, is she gonna be okay? And the wonderful thing is that she's not moving that far. But, again, I'm not gonna get to see her every single day, Yes, she's saying that she's going to come back on the weekends and whatnot. But, that's what they say, but we don't know, So maybe that is what I'm worried about, that she may not come back. I may not see her. It'll take longer for me to see her. I love the kid. Honestly, my kid, I love her because she is my one and only. She's all that I ever needed. I didn't need to have 5 kids. She was literally the whole package. So I'm very grateful, that I have a great relationship with my daughter. So I feel like right now, all of this is happening because I'm having to transition to the empty nesting. The one thing that I was reading, I've been reading a lot. I've been listening to a lot of Joyce Meyer, and it's been getting me through, day by day. It's really interesting that I'm going through this prior to her moving out. So I guess it's good, because once she moves out, I would have already went through this process, of the empty nesting, because I still have her and I still get to hug her. I get to still wake up and tell her I love her, and things of that nature, so I'm very, very grateful, for this moment. It's unfortunate that I don't like it. It really bothers me, that I have to go through this. I know it's very normal. I've talked to several other mothers, that are like, yes, I went through that. Some of them had it harder than others. Some of them really couldn't go through the whole empty nesting until their last kid, because, a lot of these mothers that I know have minimum, 3 kids, and then, I have other mothers that have had, 6 kids, you know what I mean? So by the time they got to the last kid, they've been through it, you know what I mean? So anyhow, so I feel like, that's my situation right now. And a few things that I've learned, well, let me go back to Joyce Meyer, is with the empty nesting, one thing that she mentioned is you can't, you can be a mom, but don't put everything into being a mom. You still have to be yourself as well, and if you lost yourself along the way of being a mom, then that's why you have to take the opportunity to find yourself again, things that you loved and things that made you, like for instance, like before I was married, before I became a mom, I was such a fun person. You know what I mean? Like, I was super fun. I used to love to go out, and mind you, I still do, but it just became a motherly type of deal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more motherly about it. Like, I will always be like, hey, let's all go do this. Let's all go have fun. Not just like my husband and I or myself. But I'm learning to have a little bit more alone time. I think I have too much alone time because I do work from home. My husband goes to work, obviously my daughter goes to school, and by the time they come home, they're ready to be home and hang out while I've been at home all day long. So, a few therapy, things that I've went through, like, that I've learned is get out of the house. Like, I go to the library now, so I get out of the house. I'll spend a little bit of time, in the library just to be, around other people, socializing. And I also go out there thinking, how can I be of service to anybody? I'm ready. Like, I am literally ready to be of service, to serve anybody in any way possible, to help anybody. So that's another reason why I also get out, because that was always my personality before, is how can I help somebody? So even before I started my spiritual journey with God, this was something that was planted in me. So it's just part of my personality, is anytime I would go out, I would always look for an opportunity to help somebody if I could. If I had a lot or if I had a little, I would share it. Just like right now, whatever strength I have, I'm going to share it. I may have a lot one day, I may have a little the next day, I may hardly have any the following day, but whatever I have, I'll share it, just because that's how I am. So this new journey that I'm going on, it's definitely different. I'm trying to, I don't want to say I like put everything into being a mother, but I would say I gave a lot of my life into being a mother, that I did lose pieces of me, and it's not a bad thing, and I wouldn't change it for the world, because that's just what I feel mothers do. They sacrificed, and I did sacrifice a lot of me, because I wanted to be there for her. I wanted to be the shoulder for her to cry on. I wanted to, be there, for her first heartbreak. I wanted to be there when she moved on, and things like that, just being there for her. I wanted to be that ear for her to be able to decompress and express her emotions and things like that. For me, I feel that that's what we do. We serve a purpose. Not only is it to be a mother, but to be there for somebody other than ourselves. And I think it's a beautiful journey of being a human being, is to sacrifice our emotions to be able to be there for somebody else. Because to be honest, even what I'm going through, it's really not about me. It's about the greater purpose of this journey that I'm going on, so anytime that you feel like this, like if you're going through something and you feel like, wow, is this it? You know what I mean? Like, is this all of me? No, it's not all of you. There's more to you than meets the eye. Sometimes you have to dig a little deeper. Sometimes you just have to go out there and try new things. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I've learned to journal a lot. Anytime that I go through an anxiety or I go through a panic attack, I journal it. I write about how I feel, and just so I can get out of it. And then at the end of the writing, I try to figure out, okay, why did I go through this, and at the end of the writing, it's usually there's a conclusion, and I journal at night because I talk about my entire day, the good and the bad, and whatnot. So that also helps as well. And mind you, I didn't learn this by other people telling me. Like, I pray about this stuff, and I learned to listen, to God, and these are the things that are suggested. So I try them, and I've got into photography, so I'm learning to take pictures. To be honest, it's literally been something that I've always wanted to do since I was a teenager. I've always wanted to take pictures. I've always loved taking pictures. I clearly remember my cousin and I, we had a wall full of pictures, and I literally taken all the pictures, or she's taken the pictures, and it was just like our life on the wall, and we were able to capture that, all our friends, family and whatnot, and we just had a collage of like wonderful, like super epic pictures that, we took. And it's always just been something like hidden in me, and I believe it was, let me think if I could think about the age. I want to say I was probably either 16 or 17 when I got into modeling. And I obviously didn't meet the right people, but I at least met some people in the industry that kind of helped with my pictures and things like that. And then I think I was maybe 19 when I found a real photographer, and he took such amazing pictures. Like, they're literally on my platforms. I believe I have them on Facebook. I don't think I post them on my Instagram, but for sure on my Facebook, they'll be like my oldest pictures. I was probably, I say I was 19. I was 19 when I first met him. And then I went back, after I had my daughter, and I was probably about, I don't know, maybe 25 when I got back into modeling. I met up with him, and he started taking these just really great pictures of me. And then I also met another photographer, and I stayed with him for a while, and he was probably my favorite one. And I think I met him maybe when I was about 27, and his pictures are literally plastered all over my Facebook. Like, his pictures are probably the best pictures. And then I think I was about 28 when I finally got into a modeling agency, and I did that for like maybe a year with them. Even my daughter was in that model agency, and we did it for about a year, and then I just kind of like decided, that's not a route. I felt like I was a little bit older, didn't really want to do it anymore, so I stepped down from modeling. And I was just like, even with photographers, I always felt like they were good, like especially my last photographer. But then I got to the point where I was like, they don't see what I see. I have an eye. I have a certain eye, and I want it to look a certain way, So anyway, so I feel like that's always been a hidden passion of mine. However, even when I was younger, my grandmother molded me to be, a nurse. So I learned how to do all of those things, that nurses do, so I was going to pursue that. But, even when I went to college and I tried it out, I just didn't think it was for me, like I love hard, so for me to see people pass away or be, or hurting, I couldn't. I'm too much of a loving person, and if my heart breaks every time somebody, passes away, it was hard for me to let my loved ones go. I can't even imagine if I started liking somebody, or, loving somebody, while I'm caring for them and they pass away. I couldn't. So I just knew that wasn't for me, so nursing was a thing when I was young. And then, photography was just something that I'm telling you, like, that was literally like in me, I also wanted to do cosmetology, hair and makeup. And actually my husband met me when I was trying to pursue that. I already had my school set up to go do all that, and then I just got recoursed, and that's okay, So finding myself, is going to be a mission. I think photography is definitely something that I love and I want to try. I also love music. I love classical music. I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but I would love to play the piano again. I was learning. My husband had me in piano lessons and I was learning, so that was fun. So hopefully I can get into that, just things of that nature. But my ultimate thing that I want to do, and I need to make sure that I keep my eyes on the prize, is I want to do missionary work. I want to travel and I want to help in other countries, and I feel like that was planted in my heart, I would say probably about maybe 3 years ago. A gentleman from a church in Spain came out and he, talked to our Bible study group, and I was literally floored by everything that they do. He told me it wasn't easy. He asked me to do missionary work here locally, which I haven't found a church to do that at. I love my church, but my church is not a missionary church. So that is something that I'm trying to look into. So, I want to do those things, and I feel like that was part of me as well, because like I was saying, me getting out of the house ready to serve somebody and help somebody was something so it's just an inner part of me, so I feel like doing missionary work is something that I feel like is what I really, really want to do. Like my husband and I, we have our business and, we obviously wanted to excel. So we're still working on that, but we want to get to the point where our business works for itself, so, God willing, things will work out with that, while our business is being ran by other people. We want to get to that point. We can go out and do these things, like I definitely want to do my missionary work, like I feel like that's a calling for me, and I definitely want to do that. And obviously I want to do photography. I want to take pictures, and whatnot. So we'll just see, but I just thought I'd make a second episode, basically kind of like to sum up the reason for it is that if you deal with anxiety and you deal with panic, try to find an outlet. I know it's written on Google and things like that, but you have to look for something inside you, something that's beyond Google. You have to go deeper. You have to dig deeper. Everything is always easier said than done. I wish this was over. I wish I didn't have to deal with it. You know what I mean? I wish I didn't have to deal with anxiety and panic, but I am, and I have to let it pass and I have to face it. And, it's an uncomfortable feeling and you don't want to deal with it, but it's better to deal with it. So it can pass, and whatever meaning it has behind it, just make sure you look for that meaning so you can feel that mission of the reason why you went through what you went through it had a purpose and you fulfilled it. Well, I hope this helps anybody out there. Just know that you're not alone and you're not the only one dealing with it. We all go through something, whether if it's not anxiety or panic, we're all going through something, and the way we deal with it, we can deal with it horrifically or we can deal with it gracefully. It's your choice. I choose to deal with it gracefully. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming back to Rare Finds and Raw Reviews Therapy Session 2. You guys have a wonderful day. Welcome back to Rare Finds and Raw Reviews. So this is also going to be part of the therapy session. So this is going to be session 3. It's been a while since I've been on here. So the last that we talked about was just, simply... Okay, so I'm in my kitchen right now, y'all. So you're going to hear a few things, here and there, whether I'm moving stuff around or whatnot. But I feel like these therapy sessions are really good, just because I think we all need to get our emotions out. For instance, my scheduled time of sleeping has changed, and you know what's so funny is that I've been wanting to change the way that I go to sleep for a really long time. Like, I have literally been reminiscing on looking to the future of being able to go to sleep early and wake up early, right? So for the longest time, I would say about, maybe about 4 years ago, I had sleeping issues and I just couldn't sleep. My mind would start racing, as soon as the nighttime came around, and I'd just be thinking about all these things and mostly thinking about going to sleep, and that would keep me up. So, I made peace, and, I prayed and I finally was able to, find a solution. And sometimes our solutions are temporary, but you know what? They are the solution to get us through that time, whatever storm we're going through and whatnot. So I was able to find, a temporary solution to where I was directed on having a sleeping schedule. I am older. I'm not in my 20s anymore. You know what I mean? Where you can sleep however you want to sleep and it doesn't really affect you. As you get older, you need to have a sleeping schedule so you can get the rest that your body needs, your mind needs, your spirit needs, So anyhow, so my sleep schedule was like from, I would say, I'd fall asleep anywhere between 11:30 to 1 o'clock in the morning. So, it kind of varied. I'd wake up, anywhere between 8:30 and 9:30. So that was, my sleeping pattern for years. Until recently, my daughter, she's commuting to college. So I'm having to take her now every single morning. So it's like being again in, her elementary stage, her middle school stage, her high school. I always took her to school. So now I have the blessing to be able to take her to college. So anyhow, so that recently happened. This is their third week on this new schedule. So now I have to wake up, around 6:30 in the morning and drop her off, by 8 o'clock because she does commute from Live Oak all the way to San Marcos. So anyhow, and so now I'm up, but I'm so tired by like 9 o'clock, but I still don't get in bed until about 10:30, but still that is such a huge improvement. But did I realize that it was going to take an emotional toll on me because it's leaving me unbalanced, because it was such a drastic change that, I'm not getting like my 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because my body is still trying to adjust to this change. So sleeping patterns do matter, and it can take an emotional toll on you because you're mentally tired. You're not resting your mind. You're not resting your body. You're not resting your emotions. You know what I mean? So you could prepare for the next day. So I'm still adjusting. And I didn't know that sleep is so effective like that. I was just like, oh my gosh. So you really need to respect the body, and you need to respect your sleeping rhythm. I've been taking sleep serious for a really long time. I monitor my sleep. I tried to look into my REM and my deep sleep forever. I was just interested in my deep sleep and just making sure I was sleeping, and then I believe I started looking into my REM about 2 years ago. So I ended up buying a watch and I couldn't believe it. I bought it at Walmart. I don't know if they still sell it, but what I'll do is I'll try to link it. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll link it for you guys. I think it's an excellent watch. It's not an Apple Watch. It's not an Oura Ring. Even though I do want an Oura Ring, I'm hoping one day we'll get that. But for right now, the watch is fantastic because even if I went and I invested in the Oura Ring, because that's like literally a goal that I want to have, I only wear it to sleep. So I would literally only wear that ring to sleep because I only wear my watch to sleep. You know what I mean? So And I'm not going to say the watch is like 100% accurate, but it at least gives you an idea. Just same thing for the Oura Ring. I mean, they're saying it's pretty accurate. You know what I mean? It's more accurate than it's not. You know, they even have sleep number beds that will give you the exact same thing my watch gives. So it's really about preference. However, if you're interested, it's a very inexpensive watch. I think it is like so worth it. I wish I would have bought a backup watch. But technology changes, so that's why I didn't buy it. Anyhow, so I've recently got into REM, you know what I mean? And REM is for the mind. You want the mind to also heal, you know what I mean? The mind is where it, you know, allows you to have clear thoughts, you know what I mean? It allows you to think properly, because when you're not sleeping and you're not getting the rest that you need, and nor are you getting the REM that you need, it makes you feel unbalanced, uncomfortable. It also makes you groggy, you know, things like that. So that's why it's super important that you get the rest that you need. So I'm adjusting. Even my husband, he's got a new sleeping schedule and a new schedule, so he's adjusting. My daughter's adjusting. So wow, you just really have to respect it. You know what I mean? But anyways, so I come on here and I have therapy sessions because it's good to talk about anything and everything, you know, anything that you're emotional about, you know, anything that you got on your mind, you know, you want to be able to get those thoughts out. So with that being said, sleeping is very important. If you don't take it serious, you should take it serious. It will literally change your mood. I can tell you that for years that I was sleeping in that sleeping schedule that I had very little episodes where I wasn't feeling good, and the reason why I would have that is either I might have had a rough night of sleep, you know, or, you know, I didn't stick to my schedule, things like that. Every once in a blue moon, I would have not a great, you know, great day, but you know what? It's what you make out of it. You know what I mean? So even though my day might not have been great because I didn't get the sleep that I wanted, I still made the most out of it because I can't repeat that day, you know? So you have to learn to just appreciate the day, appreciate that you even got some sleep, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you got, you know, just appreciate it. And I've learned to appreciate that. I never did, especially when I was having issues. So anyways, so at the end of the day, you know, respect sleep. Your body needs it. It puts you in the mood. It sets the, you know, the atmosphere for you for the day, you know, and just remember that even if you don't get everything that you need, just make the most out of it. It is easier said than done, but let me just tell you, it is so worth it at the end of the day. You know, it's like, it's victory. You know what I mean? You're human, you know, nothing is going to go perfect and nothing is going to be perfect. But anyhow, so today's therapy session was talking about sleep and how important it is for your mind, your body, and your spirit. Thank you so much for coming back to Rare Finds and Raw Reviews. I'm going to go ahead and link that watch if I'm able to find it on Amazon, or if I'm able to find it still at Walmart. You guys, you know, look into it, you know, respect the sleep, try to get yourself on a sleep schedule, see how much of a difference that makes for you. And then, you know, always look for positivity too. You know, you want to feed your mind and your thoughts, positive thoughts. You know, my positivity comes from God, and whatever He gives me, whatever strength I have for the day, I pass it on and I give it to you. Have a wonderful day.